podcast. I think we're all God. That's a short form. I don't subscribe to like a biblical thing. That's not my thing. I believe that we are all... Okay, so let me explain why I say that. And my most recent video, I look like Beyonce? I mean, okay, thanks. That's not an insult. Beyonce is gorgeous, so I will take that. But I don't think I look like Beyonce. But I will take that because she's hot, so thank you. We're both Virgos, so maybe that's what you're seeing. You're sensing the Virgo, the inner Virgo in me. Forgot what I was going to say. No, I didn't. I remember now what I was going to say. Do my podcasts come out? They do come out weekly, once a week at least, and as far as when they come out, it's whenever I remember to do it. But like once a week for sure. So I do have an episode I need to record this week. Probably going to do it this weekend. And I am going to talk about a lot of the things I kind of tied in all together. Yeah, Virgos rock. The last few videos. So after this live, not now. After... Huh? Okay, sorry, I was reading your comments. After this live, if you've never heard of me and you didn't know... if you've never heard of me and you didn't know that I existed until now, please check out my videos. And if you're interested in simulation hypothesis, you know, multiverse, like quantum jumping, aliens, astral projection, many worlds hypothesis, all of that stuff, like you'll love my stuff. And there's a book called After. I can't remember the author, but he was a medical doctor and he considers himself a scientist, which, you know, doctors are scientists. And he wrote a book. I think it just came out a couple years ago. Yes, I did. I am an artist. And in the book, he interviewed people who had had near-death experiences. I'm talking about God right now. Or the topic of what I'm talking about has to do with whether or not I believe in God. And so he interviewed a lot of people who had near-death experiences and asked them what their experiences were like. And one story particularly that stayed with me is that an individual who had left their bodies, they remember as soon as they left their body, they were like brain dead. Okay, so the brains were not functioning. They were like dead. But their mind was still conscious and was able to perceive this reality even outside of the body, which was fascinating. It's always fascinating to me. Thanks for the rose. And what the individual said was once they left this world, they were actually, they felt like they had access to all of the information, right? So the way I interpreted that was that they became, omniscient. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Omniscient. There we go. Oh, look, I go crown. Sorry, easily distracted. So they became omniscient. And that tells me that, okay, if you leave your form, if you are still sort of conscious after you exit the form, then you are immortal. And then if you are able to sort of know everything outside of form, then you are all-knowing or omniscient. And then the third definition of being, I guess, a god would be being everywhere all at once, which is like omnipresent. And if you are a four-dimensional being sort of condensed into a three-dimensional form, and once you exit the three-dimensional form and you can still maintain a level of consciousness and awareness and even have access to greater levels of intelligence, and that would also make you omnipresent. And so all those three definitions, you check those boxes, and that basically means that even as individuals, we are essentially gods. But I have always perceived God as a collective of which we are fractals. That's my interpretation of God. And one step further, the way I look at it is like, think of like God as like the ocean of consciousness from which everything flows. And then we as individuals are like bottles of water, bottles of the ocean or whatever, in different forms, occupying different forms. So that is my interpretation. I think you can learn from different, schools of thoughts, and from different religious books and things like that. Absolutely. My mind is open to that. As I was saying on the live yesterday, this is a rare occurrence actually for me. I don't typically do lives. I'm ignoring the comments. Sorry, because I wanted to get this out of my head, but I should, if somebody wants to volunteer as tribute for what's it called? Moderator. Let me know, and then you can kick people out, but like don't abuse it. But sorry, I'm sorry for the trolls. If you're also a troll, stop being a troll, please. Thank you. So that is my perception. And what was I saying? Yeah, so each of us are sort of condensed into forms, but we are fractals of a collective consciousness. And so that is how I roll. I mean, that's my perception of everything. So I was actually hoping for more people who are familiar with my content to hop in the live. So hopefully that works. Eventually soon, so we can talk about what we're talking about. And what I was going to talk about is workers, a workers union for the fourth dimensional workers. But we'll get to it. Is it Naya? Are you regular? Because I need people who are familiar with my stuff so we can get into the conversation. Some people are offering to moderate. I see. Give me 1 second. Let me figure out how to. Do you like tap and hold? So this is when I act like how do you set it up? If I can't figure out how to set it up to moderate, you guys need to let me know how to do that. Okay, I don't know how to set it up. Time to check out Charmed. I will. That's regular. Okay, cool. All right, we're getting in here. Good. Okay, so in the video that I posted, before I hopped in the live, I talked about how the third dimension and the fourth dimension are one. And the way I broke it down was shadow and form exist, right? So shadow cannot exist. Here's a shadow. A shadow cannot exist without form. The two are tied, right? And you have the yin and the yang. They need each other. They work together to form one unit. And so then I said the third dimension, which is this world, and the fourth dimension, which is essentially a dimension that is, I would say, I can define a fourth dimensional entity as an entity that is unbound to the flow of time the way we are in this dimension, okay? So what I was saying in the video is you put those two together and you have a whole. You have a whole, so yin and yang. Now, there is a hermetic maxim that states as above and below. I need you to hold on to that mindset. And then I'm going to continue down this thought, sort of a rehash of the video I've posted. And I legit believe that every night or whenever you sleep or whenever you take a nap, and please understand that I'm trying to condense like weeks loads of videos and a couple hours worth of podcasts content, because I've talked about this at great length on my podcast for like 2, 3, 4 hours, different times, different episodes. Obviously, I don't sit and talk for 4 hours. My podcasts tend to be about an hour and a half. So I'm trying to condense a lot of information. It's actually very dense information into a synopsis, a brief synopsis. I basically believe that every time you sleep or you nap, your consciousness leaves your body and goes to the fourth dimension. I don't think you have to wait till we pass away or die to go to the fourth dimension. I think this happens every night or every time you sleep. And sometimes even when you're conscious, I think that this happens if we exit in and out of this world, of this simulation, of this dimension, whatever label you want to call it. Now, I have a video that I put out where I basically said that this world that we're living in is it is by definition a dystopia. There's a video, I think I posted like a few days ago. It says, the video's title, it has always been a dystopia. And I define what a dystopia is, the different types of dystopia. And if you look around, like, we are in a dystopia. But the point of that was to build up on a premise of the fact that even though this dimension is a utopia, even though this dimension is a dystopia, there has to exist a sort of a real world, right? A fourth dimension is what I called it. I called it the fourth dimension. I believe that the fourth dimension is the utopia that exists as the yin and yang of this dystopia. And so the two work together. And I do believe that outside of this world, we continuously exist, and we actually toggle between the 3D and the 4D, or the third dimension and the fourth dimension, consistently. And I think that we come down here We are multidimensional beings. I'm speaking about our consciousness. I think that we are multidimensional beings, right? That come down here to essentially work to generate energy for the utopia that is in the fourth dimension. Now, a lot of you may or may not have heard of the CIA Gateway experiment. Please let me know if you have. And on it, they utilize the writings and the works and the experiments and the experiences of a Dr. Robert Monroe. He's written a couple of books, two off the top of my head, are called Far Journeys and Journeys Outside of the Body. Now, in Far Journeys specifically, Robert Monroe spoke about these entities that he encountered. They were fourth dimensional being. My fourth dimension meaning that they exist simultaneously or are able to exist in any moment in time. They're not bound to the flow of time, the linear flow of time, the way we are. And he said that they had said that this world was essentially a farm in which they generate and harvest. We generate and they harvest our energy. And it's usually as a result of fear, right? Or if you're angry or there's like drama, all of that. That's all negative energy that they harness to be utilized. I just sort of took those ideas along with about the content in about, I think, 15 books so far that are all kind of echoing the same ideas of which I'm discussing here. So like I'm saying, like I'm trying to condense a lot of information into, I don't mean to ignore you guys. I should actually probably respond to you guys, but I wanted to get all this out so that people who are listening, and then I can kind of respond. So I'm trying to set the foundation so that people know what this episode's about. So I do legit think that that's what's going on, and that we are, I don't think we're being harvested. I don't think our energy is being harvested without our will. I do think that it is intentionally, that we do intentionally choose to come here. I went through a period of time where, thank you for the encouragement, Hunchback. Appreciate that. I went through a period of time where I worried about whether or not this place was a prison, but then as I've sort of continued to read, I realized that no, it's not. It's something, but it's not a prison. And the conclusion that I've come to, and I've been discussing over the past month or so, is that we do in fact exit the simulation, exit this dimension. Every time you sleep, every time you, even when sometimes maybe when you meditate, we are in fact leaving and coming back. And I do think that we're here as work, and we are intentionally sort of generating energy for this utopian fourth dimension. But what I wanted to do was take it a step further and really take a different sort of slant to it, because sometimes a lot of people who, okay, let me see. Okay, real quick. It's actually a very interesting conversation and I want to kind of engage with you guys. So feel free to hop in as well if you're interested. But a lot of people, when they talk about things like the fourth dimension and consciousness and things like that, they tend to sort of, project on it this sort of ethereal sort of like spirituality, right? Things like that. Thank you. Wasabi? That's really sweet. This sort of ethereal sort of like praise, and like we're sort of distanced from what's going on. But what if we took the maxim, as above, so below? I'm sure a lot of you have heard that. But what if we took the maxim, as above, so below, seriously? Like, take that, because a lot of people echo it, right? Everybody say like, as above, so below, as above, so below. But really, like, what if we sit with that and actually like reflect on what that means? And that's what I wanted to discuss on this live. Like, what if in the fourth dimension there are people, there's a working class because there's working class here, guys. What if in the fourth dimension, right? So I just set all of that up. What if in the fourth dimension there is actually a working class, of which we are members of said working class, and we have to come here and serve time. I'm going to say it again. Serve time. Somebody said, okay, I like it, Picasso. Okay, I like it, Picasso. Yeah. So what if they're really like as above, for real, like so below, and there's a working class, there are the haves I don't want to say in the have-nots, because I do believe that the fourth dimension, or I do think that the fourth dimension is in fact a utopia, or as much of a utopia as it can be, right? But bear in mind, when you look at the yin and the yang, right? When you see the yin, there's darkness with a bit of light, which is this world, right? But then when you see the yang, there's light, but a bit of darkness. So a utopia, even if it's the fourth dimension, can't be perfect. Another book, actually it's the same book, Far Journeys. No. There's a weird book I was reading today, and I don't remember the topic or the title. Dang it. Or I don't remember the title or the author, rather. But it is an interesting book, and I can't leave the live to go look at it. I can't leave this to go look at it, but it is a very interesting book. And what this guy did was he sort of has studied magic and quantum physics and all of these other things. But he was saying that it seems that a lot of like these intelligent species that communicate to people through things like, what they call it, like channel, channel text and things like that, mediums, things like that, he believes that there are like opposing factions. Okay, so if we take that to the logical conclusion that even in a utopia, there's a bit of darkness, right? Just like in this world, that is a dystopia, there's light, right? If you take that to a logical conclusion and you take that hermetic maxim and you pull it all in, as above, so below, it would make sense that there could very well be people, entities, consciousness, factions in the fourth dimension that on one end want this world to be different, right? And then on the other end, there might be entities or factions that want things to stay the same. And this is going to sound funny in a bit, but remember the movie Monsters, Inc.? Towards the end, they realized that they could generate, I'm bringing in Monsters, Inc., but towards the end, they realized that they could generate more energy through laughter than through pain, right? And I'm wondering if that's what's going on when we see different sort of like people who interact with different types of like non-corporeal entities or non-corporeal intelligent species, whatever word you want to call it. They're talking about the same thing, right? I wonder if there are factions of the fourth dimension who don't think that, we should come down here and that the suffering in this world should be as intense as it is, right? Maybe there's other ways to generate energy that isn't painful, and that's why they're pushing enlightenment. That's why they're pushing meditation. That's why they're channeling and telling us we're all one and we just need to love each other and things like that. That's what I think. I just prattled on, but I would like to know what you guys think. I just went off into my whole dissertation. I went more doing the opposite of what the world does. Okay, cool. What else? Let's see what you guys are thinking of this theory. Okay. Answer the question of what happens when we die. Read the book after. Somebody asked what is the definition of a dystopia. So it's basically this world. And there's a video where I have my hair's curly and it's titled, It's Always Been a Dystopia. If you watch that video, I actually define it in different terms. So, but I really do want us to really sit with, I really do want us to just sit with that, like, hermetic maxim. It's one of my favorites, but I just wondered, sorry, I'm getting distracted because people are kind of hopping in and just saying stuff and not listening, and and it's annoying me. Are you on YouTube? I am on YouTube. Yes. Jolie Artist. Love the artwork. Thank you. Let me see. Well, once again, can you guys let me know how I moderate people or I can set up people as moderators? Because I only want people in the live who are on the same like resonance with me. Like, if that's possible. Because I don't want to I really wanted to like go in, and I like the live I did yesterday was super, like the vibe was super good, and I stayed up later to avoid Trollinskis. So let's sort that out. Make me well, I gotta make sure you're trustworthy. I gotta make sure, so I'm gonna go through and try to find people who I trust that will. All right, let's see. Hunchback. How do I make you a moderator, sir? You guys have to, let's see. You guys have to tell me how to do this, because I'm giving like millennial grandma right now. What do you do? How do you set somebody up as a moderator? For this idea, would we have to start over? Come back, please. Age of Aquarius is shift to fifth dimension. You trust me. Think press the name. Okay, so first things first, because I'd like to continue this conversation, and I want to continue it with people who are actually going to resonate with what we're talking about. But I first need to figure out how to set somebody up to moderate, or people up to moderate. Lost it. All right, okay. I don't want you guys watching me like scrolling, so go start. Okay, hidden variant, I know you. All right, so I tap and hold on the name, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing how it's set up. All right, any other suggestions on how to make somebody a moderator? Help me out, fam. I want to continue the conversation too. I just don't want to get distracted. All right, we'll sort it out. If we can figure out, or let's just do this until I could figure out how to manage, and the profile should pop up. Let's see here. Sorry. So awkward. Oh, wait. Oh, I see it. Hold on. Let's see. Manage. No. Oh, hey, I already have a built-in moderator. Hey, Dam. All right, cool. Damsel. Damsel is a moderator. I will definitely keep going. Let's see. Hidden. I'm going to make you a moderator because I trust you. So you're a moderator. Awesome. The ones offered to moderator. I got it. Somebody said to tap and hold and then manage. Hit manage. So that's what we do. And then, so I've got it. So hunchback. Okay, manage, add moderator. All right, cool. We got some moderators in the house. Naya said me too. All right. Okay, cool. That's good. I think we're good. All right. Let's go. So anybody who says anything that's like off topic, I mean, like not like, don't like, let's not go power crazy, but I really want to talk about these sort of things. And sometimes because it's, I want to add you because you said yay. Yeah, these are things that people don't talk about on a regular basis. That is why I created my podcast. That is why I created this channel. That is why I'm continuously putting out content, because I think you can go on any channel and go wherever and find people talking about like just whatever, the news or celebrity gossip and things like that. There's not that many people talking about like the fourth dimension or third dimension or what happens after death or all these things. So when people kind of come in and they don't really know what they're talking about and then they just start talking, I don't want that. Ronnie, hi. Where does our consciousness go when we sleep? Ronnie has not been watching my videos. So what I've been saying and I've said is that, I actually said this on the live yesterday as well. Have you guys seen Multiverse of Madness? The analogy I used yesterday was from the Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness. And I said that when you have a dream, when you dream, we have REM, that occurs about 20 minutes to an hour before you actually wake up. So people think that we dream the entire night, but that's not what is happening. So you can look this up. It tends to happen. Some say 20 minutes, some say an hour, but it's just that. And then also I think you REM right after you fall asleep as well. So that means there's a large chunk of time I am going to talk about astral projection. There is a large chunk of time, let's say about 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours, where your consciousness is not in the building. And I legit believe, I suspect that in that large chunk of time, our consciousness goes to the fourth dimension. I in my most recent video that I posted right before I hopped on this live, I think a few hours ago, I talked about how yin and yang, utopia and dystopia are one. And I actually believe that every parallel universe in the multiverse is actually a shadow of its fourth dimensional version. That is legit what I think is happening. And I don't think, like, people want to think or want to say or want to talk about what happens when we die, because they want us to believe, or we've been led to believe, that death is the only time you get to leave. But that's not true. There are people who have had experiences with psychedelics that basically have reported experiencing a world that they all report is more real than this one. So in the video that I posted, it's like my most recent video, I actually have, right above my head, you'll see a bunch of different books that I'd recommend, where they discuss lots and lots of sort of research that's done, people on LSD, people on DMT, people who've had out-of-body experiences, people who astral project, people who've had near-death experiences. They're all reporting the same thing. So I took all of those books and kind of put them all together to sort of try to figure out what is really going on in our world. And that's legit what I think is happening. Now, I do think that when we dream, that REM, that 20 minutes of REM to an hour of REM, where we have these dreams, I suspect is that as we descend back down to the fourth or to the third dimension from being in the fourth dimension. And please understand that the flow of time is an illusion. The flow of time is an illusion. Time itself is an illusion, right? This entire reality is illusion. That's where simulation theory comes from. But, okay, Dark Barry keeps saying it's a drug, it's not real life. Please, before you say that, I would implore you to read the book. So there's a video that I actually posted right before I hopped on the live, and I have several books listed. You can tap and hold to take all of the books and buy those books, read all of them, and then read them again, and then say that. Because sometimes we kind of make these sort of general statements where we're just echoing what we have been taught, instead of things that we've actually taken the time to read. Oh, he got blocked. Let me explain things so people don't block people. It's okay. Anyway, what I was trying to say to him is read. So okay, give people time so I can explain. Okay, why do you guys think we're trying to wake up consciously? Because we're asleep, some of us. So what I was saying about 20 minutes ago is that I do think that, you know, adding mods feel like... So we're trying to have a serious conversation. She said, bye! We will be having none of that, sir. No, it's okay. You can disagree. It's okay for people to disagree. I don't have a problem with that. It's just that there's a lot of people who just kind of hop on and they start running their mouth, and you could tell that they haven't read or done. You know what I mean? Like they're just echoing things that they've said. And sometimes I don't like to use the term NPCs because I think sometimes we toggle between being NPCs and, you know, conscious or aware or whatever. But it's the nature of the game. So the topic is based on a video that I just posted this evening about 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which I was basically saying that the third dimension is a dystopia, the fourth dimension is a utopia. The two of them work together synergistically like shadow and form, right? So they need to exist together. But I don't think we have to wait till we die to exit the third dimension. I think that every time we sleep, every time we sleep, take a nap, maybe even zone out, are who we really are, our consciousness. We are actually multidimensional beings. And every time we sleep, take a nap, or astral project, or have an out-of-body experience, whatever it is, we're actually exiting the simulation, the game, and sort of toggling between the third and fourth dimension. So the image of the yin and yang is sort of speaks to me. I like that in the darkness there's a bit of light, right? So in the yin there's a bit of white, and in the yang there's a bit of darkness. But I think together they're halves of a whole, which means, like, as beautiful as this world is, or at least as beautiful as it is to us, there have been people like Plato wrote about the allegory of the cave, and he was basically saying that this world is a shadow world. I mean, that's what he's saying. It's a false construct. It was, if you gave Plato a VR helmet, he would say, oh yeah, this shit's a virtual reality. That's what I was trying to say. I just didn't have the technology, right? And before Plato even said that, we have the Vedic scriptures of the Hindu. They were basically saying the same thing. They called this world Maya, illusion, right? Leela, the game. So it's been going on for a while, but I do think that I've never had that I can remember anyway, a near-death experience, but I do tend to trust what I read, and I tend to read books that are written by doctors or scientists who have an open mind and are non-materialists, or maybe they were former materialists and they have moved away from that, and they're starting to try to understand things beyond just what our senses show us, right? They're trying to understand, the hard problem of consciousness, things like that. So I like to take on information from those sources as well. And everyone that has had those sort of experiences, from psychedelics to astral projections, out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, all of that, are we infinite, metaverses deep? I mean, I think that there's layers, right? That's my, I think once we do ascend out of the third dimension into, permanently, I do think we leave all the time. I do think we come down here to serve time. I really want you guys to hold on to those 3 words, to serve time, because I don't know if you guys ever watched the black and white Twilight Zones. I love that. Every New Year's Eve, I will marathon it. I will marathon it. And one of my favorite episodes is To Serve Man. So I want you to guys take that and hold on to the term that we're serving time. But understand that serving time, it sounds like a prison sentence. So I'm not trying to imply that we are here in a prison, but I am trying to imply, and I'm weaving a lot of theories together, but I want it to sort of make sense. I hope it's making sense. I do think that a multidimensional being would be able to exist simultaneously all at once. But everything that I've read, from people who have had near-death experiences, to people who have had psychedelic trips, LSD trips, whatever, they all report the same thing, that this world it doesn't feel as real to them. So I legit think that this is the shadow world. But then it's just an experience that we're having, and that's okay. You could sleep for 6 hours, or I should say your avatar could sleep for 6 hours, right? Or 7 hours. And in that chunk between dreams, it's just you're AWOL, you're gone. In the 6 hours that your avatar lays here in this dimension, remember, there's a time dilation thing that occurs. So think when you're playing like The Sims, for example, the time in the sim goes by a lot faster than it does in our world. So the same thing outside of this dimension, time is different. And most importantly, time is a construct, it's an illusion. So in this world, it confines, right? And it actually, the people of the fourth dimension utilize time as a way to sort of shift where they need to go to. So I think that there's layers. So I don't think it stops at the fourth dimension. For the video that I posted before this one, before I went live, I think I posted it, like I said, around like 6 or 7, something like that. I really, really, really wanted to throw in, there's a Rick and Morty episodes. There was a Rick and Morty episode called The Ricks Must Be Crazy. And if you haven't seen that, please find it on YouTube and watch it. It was like one of my favorite episodes. But essentially, without spoiling, I'm going to try not to spoil it. Grandpa Rick had a vehicle, and in it he had a battery, and in order to generate power, he created like this world within his battery, and then the people in this world generated energy for him. But then his battery was like having issues, so he went into his battery and he like presented himself as a god, and he wanted to check in on what was going on. And their scientists were trying to figure out a way to create like a battery that would generate energy. And then it just went all the way down. So it was like it was basically slavery at each level. And I don't have a negative connotation of what this world is, but I think that it's sort of simulations all the way down. So if the third and fourth dimension here are sort of bonded like yin and yang, then I would imagine that the fifth and sixth dimension, the same thing occurs, and that your consciousness does shift, right? Because your consciousness is multidimensional. This is just a vehicle in which you experience this. I'm seeing some of your comments, so I'm not ignoring it. But it's heavy, it's dense, it's intentional, because once again, when people have near-death experiences, so I'm pulling from a bunch of different sources, but when people have peace to all mankind. Yeah. When people have near-death experiences, they report all the same thing. They don't want to come back here. Most of them say they don't want to come back here, which, like, I get it. Because, like, if this is work, if the third dimension is a job, right, for a fourth dimensional being, and then you exit and the world outside of this one is, like, much better than this one, yeah, like, you don't want to come back here. But the thing that always strikes me as weird, and I've read so many books on near-death experiences, specifically life after life, is there life after death, after, I just finished reading After, a few others. I put it in the video that I posted recently. It happens with astral projection and NDEs. But I guess you could say that the two are interchanged. But when I say near-death experiences, a lot of people can identify with that. So we're just arguing semantics. It's okay. But they all report the same thing. They don't want to come back here. The world outside of this one is more real than this one. So this has got to be a sort of a shadow world. And the weirdest thing for me is that they're always told like they have to come back here. And the energy that I get is that you really do have to just stay, serve your time. It's just something that you do, and you come in and then you leave, and you come in and you leave, and then it's just part of sort of the greater good, and it works to help the fourth dimension maintain its status in a way as a utopia. So that's legit what I think is going on. The problem with that is, once again, I'm going to keep bringing in the yeah, sorry, I got it. Yeah, the smoothie's bomb. So I keep bringing in the Hermetic maxim. Let's not talk about unreliving ourselves, because you'll just get sent back in here, which is like literally everybody that had an NDE, that's what they said. Like when they unalived themselves, they got sent back in. And there was like this one guy who, this is super graphic, but he tried to like end himself, and he like used like a weapon, and it like took out like half of his head, and then he got sent back here. And that's not, just serve your time. Just serve your time and try to lessen the suffering. So what I was going with, so where I was going, and maybe I'll talk about it in the next few videos, is that we're noticing in this reality, for example, that more and more workers are basically coming out and saying like, we're being exploited, right? By our, yeah, don't do that. Just serve your time. It's not a punishment. I'm not saying it's a punishment, but it's like, imagine you are in the military and you are conscripted and you have to serve 4 years, right? That is your contract. It's something that you have to do, right? So that's what I think is going on, that we get conscripted to the third dimension, and that's your time. So if you try to leave before the time that you've been conscripted, and bear in mind, like I said, we do leave every night, so you do get breaks every night. I legit think so. So I don't think this is a prison, but I do think that you have to come here and work. So if you leave before your contract is up, it seems they shove your ass back in here. So like, I don't make the rules. I'm just saying like, you gotta do what you gotta do. And Yeah. So I am speak more on lessening suffering. Okay, I will definitely do that. I want to actually do that. Thank you for getting me back on topic with that. I also wanna. Okay, I don't want to miss some of your comments. Why would you sign a contract? So it's like the same thing. Like, so remind me of what I was going to talk about, but I want to answer why would you sign the contract? So the yin and yang, as above, so below. Remember, keep thinking of the yin and yang symbol. In the darkness, there is light. In the light, there is darkness, right? Even in a utopia, it's not perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. Perfection cannot exist. That is an illusion within itself, right? I legit think that there are things that occur in this world, right, that we have to do. And in a utopia, even in the fourth dimension, there are things that occur there that you have to do. I think we have this sort of idealized version of what heaven is. I'm going to say this 3 times. I think we have an idealized version of what heaven is. And by heaven, I don't mean like the religious. I'm not a biblical. I just mean like when I say certain words, it's because, like I said, fourth astral projection, and somebody was like, no, they're ND, or I'm sorry, I said NDEs, and somebody was like, that's astral projection. I have to utilize terms that most people, when they hear it, they know what I'm talking about. So heaven, the fourth dimension, paradise, whatever word you want to call it, it's light with a bit of darkness. So there is still order. There is still form. And so there are things you have to do. Like in Israel, for example, when you hit a certain age, everybody has to go into military service, and they have to serve their time. They have to serve their time. What have I been saying? Serving time. So I think we have to come down here and serve our time until our contract is up, and then you kind of move on, or you have to stay in the fourth dimension. I legit think that's what's going on. But what I was saying, or what I said earlier, was that there are people who have reported. This was actually in a book that I can't remember the title of it, but it was an interesting book. I did paint that. Yes, move out of the way. Where they said that they suspect that there are opposing factions. There are people who think that this world should just be the way it is, and you come in and you do the hard work, which is a lot of suffering. And then I think that there are factions of inspects, to use Robert Monroe's terminology. He called them insects, which are intelligent species, which sounds a lot like insects to me rather. But he thinks that there are 2 different sort of factions. So there are people who are insects who think that suffering is the way you generate the most amount of energy. And then there are entities who believe that, or insects who believe that love can generate the same amount of energy. I got a crown. Ooh. It would be the same thing. It would make sense that there would be a duality even in the fourth dimension, or even in the whatever word you want to call it, right? Where we sort of hail from or exist in. So what I'm noticing, particularly on TikTok, you have a lot of workers who are coming out and saying, like, do not allow your employees to, like, drain you, right? If you go in and you're working on a 9 to 5, when the clock ends, when it's 5 o'clock, clock out, and don't, like, do more than what they've asked you to do. And I get that, and I like that, because if you can pay your CEO, millions of dollars, right? You can also pay your employees more money if you want them to work more time. And I sort of wanted to take that mindset and then pull it in to the idea of, let's say that this world is really a place where we come down. We are multidimensional beings conscripted to work in the third dimension, right? And, maybe there's a faction in the fourth dimension that believes that we should just, like, this world should just be sort of grueling and just filled with suffering and things like that. And maybe there's factions in, other factions who don't think that suffering is the way. And maybe that's why you have some people who come out and, they're channeling entities that are telling us that, like, you have to just sort of, like, go through it or whatever. I don't know. And then there are entities now that are coming out and saying, no, like, love and acceptance and being present and being aware and awake, that's happening. And I think that might be what's occurring. Maybe they're wanting. This is kind of fun to play with, by the way, of course. So I have to state that these are just theories, and that is sort of what I do. I like to muse on the nature of our reality. I try not to hold on to any belief, because I believe that what you believe imprisons you. So I try not to hold on to any specific beliefs, because I believe that what you believe imprisons you, right? It blocks your mind. So I just love to discuss these sort of theories. And how many people are talking about the fourth dimension, like, and what it must be like in the fourth dimension, and who we really are, right? So that's how I roll. That's how I like to sort of like, thank you for the reminder. So how do we lessen suffering? You lessen suffering the same way we would tell an employee who's working, for a corporate form and is like overworking, like they're doing the most, right? Take it easy, right? So in this world, this is something that I like to say, and I've said this on the podcast. In this world, the struggle is necessary. It's just a necessary part of existing here, right? Everything has to struggle. Just being born is a struggle, right? Just watching, you plant a seed and you watch a plant, it struggles out of the earth. So the struggle is programmed in, but the suffering, that's optional. And the key is, can we make this world less of a dystopia where we come in and we serve our time, but can we edit it? And I would go as far as to say that I suspect, now this is something new, I would go as far as to say that I suspect that other universes have figured it out, have figured out a way to maybe come down and serve their time in the third dimension without the suffering. And I think we just need to sort ourselves out, right? I think we're moving towards that. I love that. Wow. That makes me super happy. Yeah, I get that. I know time is the fourth dimension. It doesn't, I already said all of that, but thank you for rehashing that. So that is what I think might be what we are in the throes of right now, is trying to make it so that if this is the workplace of people in the fourth dimension, the great resignation, I guess we could all just quit. Don't do that. But so if the third dimension, I'm looking down because I'm also trying to read your comments as I talk. Sorry. Thank you, Art. Because I don't want to talk at you guys, because that's what I have the podcast for. So part of the reason why I hop in the live is to also read what you guys have to say. So if I'm like going off and I lose my focus, just comment and I'll hop back in. So I apologize. I'm usually, when I do the podcast, it's pretty even, but I also want to engage and read what you guys are talking about. So resignation is true, but companies are preparing for another recession. Yeah, so they'll probably lay people off. So if and they're probably bracing themselves for it. If the third dimension is the workplace for fourth dimensional being, I would go as far as to say, once again, we keep repeating the Hermetic maxim, but nobody actually sits with that. If you keep saying as above, so below, then that means that the fourth dimension is similar, if reversed, to the third dimension. Similar if reversed, so that would mean that maybe there are fourth dimensional entities that don't have to come down here. And we legit are the worker class, right? Workers class of the dimensions unite. This would be a dope like sci-fi story. And I think that maybe we need to sort ourselves out to make it so that our working environment in this dimension is not so shitty. There's no cool way to do that. Yeah, I probably should have done that off screen. Sorry. That would be, I had like several cool t-shirts that I need to like sort myself out and write it out. Like, workers of the fourth dimension unite. Right? Like, instead of like, sort of working out or walking out. All right, I just had like a dark sort of morbid thought, so bear with me, I'm going to say it. But there have been civilizations where Hermetic was the word I said, Hermitic. You can actually look it up, write it down. Oh, my sweatshirt says goddess energy. Bada boop beep boop body boop. Sorry, you just need to astral project. Most is the nonsense you're thinking will disappear. It's not nonsense. Don't call something nonsense just because you don't understand it. It's nonsense to you because you don't understand it. Like I said, I put books, so go read and then come and have a conversation with me. I don't look like Beyonce. Yeah. So t-shirts, yeah. Workers of the fourth dimension unite. I think that'd be a dope shirt, but then you have to like explain what that means, and then that would be maybe a great way to start a conversation. What do you mean? What does your shirt mean? Yeah. Okay, so ask someone to astral project using tools they can't. They can only say my tool is invisible or overstood. Yeah. Something about yes, that was my thank you for reminding me. So I had a morbid thought. So sometimes archaeologists, it's getting late. Sometimes archaeologists will happen upon like a ruin, like a civilization where just a bunch of people just like appear to have just like disappeared at one time. Have you guys heard of this? Or like they've all just like logged off at the same exact time. I don't want to like get dark, but there's like usually like ancient civilizations, and every time I think about that a lot. I wonder like if a bunch of like Mayans and Aztecs, things like that, I wonder if they realized what was going on, and I mean I feel like on some level we all kind of know what's going on, which is why we have these sort of conversations. Every time I post a video, there's like people in the comments that are saying the same thing, like I've thought about this, I just didn't want to like vocalize it. I'm grateful for you to put this in video. I'm just afraid people think I'm crazy. But I get a lot of those comments, which is a reason why I always cite books, because I don't pull these ideas from nowhere. I mean, I trust my intuition when I come across like a book, whatever, but I like to find like PhDs, doctors, scientists, books that are written by them that can support what I'm saying, so that I can then tell people, go check this out. So I kind of wonder if they just like walked off the job, like fuck this shit, I'm out. Like I legit think like we keep, once again, like I want to say that we assign a level of reverence to spiritual things, which is great because we're in a material world, but I just wonder if you really sit back and think about the implications of the Hermetic maxim, as above, so below, it would mean that, in the fourth dimension, there might be, even in a utopia, there would be, elements that we find here in this reality as well, because it's the same consciousnesses toggling back and forth. So, we need to sort out how to make our work environment in the third dimension a better work environment, I'm thinking. So we got to sort that out. Yeah. Thought it was a dress. What, the painting? No, she's actually in armor. Yeah, ask for too much. No, we should sort ourselves out down here. I mean, if we have to come down and sort of serve our time and work, yeah, but the suffering, I don't think is necessary. Why did I come here? Probably to do this. Sit and talk to you guys and tell you guys to unite. I mean, that's what I've been saying for like years. I didn't just like start with TikTok. I've had like my YouTube, and I was even on Instagram for a while. I got shadow banned off there, which I think is cool. So yeah, or soulless people. Well, I have that one video I put out on NPCs, and I actually have a whole podcast episode on NPCs. It's called NPCs and Lags in the Simulation. I would love for you to check it out. Do I still believe that we don't have free will? I think that if time is an illusion, okay? If the flow of time and the way we perceive it is an illusion, okay? Then everything that you will experience and have experienced exists right now. Now, that doesn't mean that you just have one timeline or one path. That's not what that means. It just means that every possible path, or I should say, every probable path does exist right now to be actualized, crystallized, whatever word you want to, I don't like the word manifested, but whatever word you need to use to sort of identify with what is going on, to be actualized by your consciousness. It exists. Now, for the most part, probability, we're going to bring in, probability into it. Because of circumstances that were beyond your control. We're going to break down what this means, okay? You didn't control where you were born. You didn't control, what family you were born into. Like, you just uploaded your consciousness into this particular avatar, and everything that was going to influence and shape your avatar was predetermined before you even entered into this dimension or simulation, whatever word you want to use, right? So then that means that while you have all of these, I like using my hands, while you have all of these infinite reality experiences that you can experience, for the most part, because of circumstances because of causes that existed before you even entered into the game, you're pretty much more than likely going to be on this path. This is the most, I'm not trying to flip you off with this, but this is your most probable path, right? And so if the circumstances beyond your control means that you are going to end up on this path, then you don't have free will. I have equated free will to like a six-pack, okay? You are born with the potential for a six-pack, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking, just leave. Like, thank you. So anyway, you're born with the potential for a six-pack, but it's not giving, right? Like, things that you have to do to actualize other reality experiences beyond the most probable one. That is what I think is occurring. So free will is not a given. You do have to work for it, and then it's limited. It's just more on which reality experiences will you choose to actualize with sort of exertion of will. And exertion of will is not something that you are born with. It's not a given. You do need to take the time, the energy, and effort to sort of strengthen your will so that you can actualize less probable reality experiences. And that's what takes time, energy, effort, by getting a six-pack. So, all right, I want to see what you guys are saying. Thoughts on near-death experience through the perspective of other realities. So, in the video I posted before this one, if you look, I think a few seconds in, I actually listed a bunch of books that I think would be are great reads. Consciousness Outside of the Body is one. Life After Life is another one. After is a recent one. Is there Life After Death? Surviving Death. Those are 5 books off the top of my head that I can tell you right now that I would love for you to check out. Everything that you need to sort of, any sort of question that you might have can be found in those books and more. I've read, I think at this point off the top of my head, about 15 books dealing with near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and, I'm pretty convinced by these books that yes, a bit of you that you do survive after death. I trust the writers, I trust the research, I trust the people who have sort of braved being labeled crazy to tell their stories to the researchers, and their stories seem pretty convincing. So I would suggest that you check those books out rather. All right, what are you guys saying? Do you have any tips on astral remote viewing or to have more control? Not me personally, no. I feel like I say this hey friend. I feel like I say this in every live that I do. I've got a bunch of books. I was prepared to, some of you guys probably already know what I'm about to say, but I was prepared to do the whole astral projection thing. I was going to try it. I was going to go exploring. I wanted to sort of see what I actually wanted to do. I've never told you guys this before, but what I wanted to do in my endeavor to astral project, astral, it's getting late, astral project was I wanted to check out my past lives and my future incarnations, right? Because everybody talks about your past life, but I'm going to keep saying this. If the flow of time is an illusion and all of time happens right now, then you also have future lives, right? Future. You have like versions of yourself that you're existing right now, which I think is what happens when you sleep as well. That you could be existing as simultaneously in the future, and they could be influencing who you are now. So I actually wanted to kind of see if I could do that, check out versions of myself in the future and in the past. But then I watched a little show called, who knows what show I watched that was like, I'm good. I'm cool in that. Because I talk about this all the time. But I watched a show, and I was like, I'm good. I'm just going to read what people have to say about it and kind of go from there. So, no, it wasn't Vampire Diaries. And this is where your free will theory gets cloudy. Okay, I have trouble staying where I go. That's interesting. Where do you go? But then when I dream, it has people from this timeline and life in it. The show was behind, sorry. I'm a bad habit of doing that. The show was Behind Her Eyes on Netflix. No, it was Behind Her Eyes on Netflix. And that was like, after I watched that, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. If you haven't seen that, you should see it. It starts off super slow. And it starts with just a regular show. You're watching it. It's like a love triangle going on. And then it went this way. And I was like, hard pass. I'm good. So I don't want to spoil it, but I do think you should check it out. And the sweater is from my website, jolieartist.com. It's safer to stay in your body. I like this body. So I like this avatar. I'm attached to it. And, so I kind of gave that up, but I do trust, other people's accounts of it. Do you ever feel dumbed down talking to us on here? No, absolutely not. I actually enjoy, so in the lives that I do, when I do it, for the most part, like, I enjoy it. I think that the majority of people who pop in and have been following me for a while and been watching my videos, they know what I'm talking about. They know that I know what I'm talking about. The vibe, I vibe with you guys super heavy. And I do enjoy it. Every once in a while, somebody comes in, and I guess they just see me on my FYP or something like that, and then they just hop in and just like say things that agitates me. Not like even on it doesn't agitate me here. It more is like ego, because I don't like that. The amount of time that I have dedicated to reading, you can always tell by what people say that they don't know what they're talking about, but they want to talk to you to tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. And I've spent at this point, it's been a decade of reading about 3 to 5 books a week to be able to talk to you guys the way I talk to you guys, and to take these complex sort of topics and condense them and simplify them. I'm not saying I know everything, but I have this pursuit of knowledge that drives me. And so when it's somebody who just kind of hops in and maybe they see it's a woman talking or whatever it is, and they just pop up, in the mouth, I know people think I'm trying to present myself as a spiritual guru. I'm not at all. This is just my vibe, but I'm not a guru. I'm just trying to share stories and theories. That's my vibe. You know what I mean? But when people kind of pop in and they don't know me, or they haven't watched any of my videos, and they're just popping off their mouth, it agitates me. And then I gotta like, you know, it agitates my avatar. All right, so then I gotta check and balance that shit. So I appreciate you guys just booting them out for me, the moderators. That's why we have the moderators. I appreciate that. So yeah, if you are willing, like I'm always telling you guys like books to read. And for those who listen to my good night. To those who listen to my podcast, you know, I'm always like telling you guys like, you know, listen to books. Like if you can't sit and, you know, like read, right? Sit and listen and then increase the speed, right? I'm always telling you guys like increase the speed, because that's how now, you know, close to a decade, if not over, I have been able to take in 3, depending on the week. If I'm super busy, I can only do about 3 books a week, but I don't listen just one time. I'll listen about like 2 or 3 times. So I actually want to like memorize the information and have it in my head so I can pull from all of these sources and tell you guys the titles. But if it's just like a week when I'm just painting and I'm just vibing, I can listen to up to like 5 to 7 books a week, but increase the speed. I just saw somebody say that it bumped up to like 1.5. That's awesome. So I've trained my mind now to listen at like 3 to 3.5x speed. And that's how I get through books. And I'll reread the same book or re-listen to the same book over and over again so that I got it. And so I think you guys should like do that too. You don't have to go as fast as I do. Like I said, it's taken me time to get to where I am now. But it's certainly possible. If it's possible for me, it's definitely probable for you. Yeah. So it's pretty close to my Native American teaching, if not exactly the same words. You're onto something. Yeah, man, I appreciate you saying that. Like that's something that I want to do, is just like sit and talk to some like natives, like some indigenous like Americans. But I know that they don't like let outsiders into their culture, understandably so. But I think there's so much that we can learn from, you know, these like indigenous cultures. I am West African by birth. I'm Igbo and Edo, and I still try to connect with my father's people. My uncle is still Nigerian, so I ask him questions about like the beliefs of my ancestors, because I feel sadly that a lot of this stuff is getting lost through time and being replaced by, you know, other cultures and beliefs, right? So I don't want that to get lost. But you know, the truth can only stay hidden for a while before it unearths itself again. You know what I mean? So it always comes back to light. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Have you seen Annihilation? That was a dark movie. Is that when the alien kind of pops up and like the thing about Annihilation? Okay, I want to answer this question real quick and I want to answer the Annihilation. So this question is, do you have any tips on sorting thoughts? So I continuously detach from a thought. So I do this and I've gotten better at it by meditating. So I would recommend that you meditate. Yeah, my mom's Igbo. My mom will not tell me about that though, because she's also Catholic now. So every time I try to talk about it, we actually had a conversation yesterday or 2 days ago. It didn't go well, about like Catholicism. And so yeah, she won't talk to me about that stuff because it's pagan. But that's neither here nor there. But the thing about Annihilation, the movie, that like really threw me off was that at the end she ended up battling like herself. And it has some really like deep elements in there, beautiful elements. I think I did a whole, like a long time ago, like 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 years ago on my YouTube channel, I did an analysis on the movie Annihilation and what the director of the movie was talking about, how our biggest battles are with ourselves, right? And that like, that duality always speaks to me, the dichotomy always speaks to me. But that is like, that internal monologue, to tie back to the earlier question, that's the beast. You know what I mean? That voice in your head. I always feel like I hear it over here. So meditating is the way I've learned to conquer it. So now, like I repeat my mantra in the morning. I do it about 10 times. I repeat my mantra 10 times, and I do it for about 15, 20 minutes. Hey, in the morning, and then right before I go to bed, I do it again. And what I found is by meditating during the day now, when I catch the internal monologue kind of like popping off, I disconnect from it. But there was a time when I couldn't disconnect from it, and that thing, like, woo, drove me. You know what I mean? Like, put me in a dark place. So I would absolutely recommend meditating. Pick a mantra and just, like, will yourself into sitting and repeating it. And every time you find your mind sort of shifting off from the mantra, shift your focus back to it. Yeah. Sorry. Probably gonna go soon. I don't know how long I've been on here, but I feel like it's a minute. And I know the moderator's probably getting tired. Are you guys getting tired? Moderators? Are you guys getting tired? Yes, no? You gotta wait because there's like a lag. There's a lag in a game. So you don't wipe your mind when you meditate, you repeat. Yeah, it's not about wiping your mind. Yeah. I think you guys are getting sleepy. It's late. So meditating is not about clearing your mind. There's no way. Oh, somebody. Okay. I'm good. Listening intently. All right. So we have 2 out of 3. It's not bad. If you guys start to get tired, let me know, because I don't want you guys staying up on my account. But meditation is not about clearing the mind. So I say that again. Meditation is not about clearing the mind. You say, I can go where I want, but okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm leaving work. I'm wired. I can go where I want, but not have a hard time staying. I want to hear about that. So meditation is not about clearing the mind. If you sit down and try to clear the mind, you're going to have a hard time. It's about catching the mind. It's not about clearing the mind. It's about catching the mind. So a lot of us are too identified with the mind. So the moment it starts to talk, we think that's us. And what meditation is meant to teach you is that voice in your head, the internal monologue, is just like saying, like just popping off and saying just all the crazy shit that causes you fear and anxiety and depression and worry and all of that. That's not you. So when you catch yourself listening to it, right, you pick the mantra, you repeat the mantra. That is what we're going to focus on. So you set the command. This is what we're going to focus on, right? When you catch, the moment you say this is what we're going to focus on, here comes the mind. Hey, what are you going to do today? Shift back to the mantra. Just catch your mind wandering and shift back. That's all meditation is. You catch your mind wandering, shift it back. Catch your mind wandering, shift it back. Eventually what you're going to find is that in time, that voice becomes quieter and quieter. It's still there. I don't think it ever goes away. I don't think it gets silent. But I do think after a while, hey, I took some mushrooms like an hour ago. Okay. And it's just kicked in. So in case I like totally shift, that's what's going on. I can focus before bed and go anywhere or sleep. Oh, cool. People are talking about astral projection. They can remote view awake as well, but see in the mind's eye. Somebody popped into my DMs and they sent me a message on Instagram, and then they like unsent it, but I read it before they unsent it. And they said that when they astral project, they can actually like implant thoughts in people's heads. And I thought, oh, that would make sense. Just like me doing self-talk, unable to decide. It's interesting. I like reading your guys' comments. You can go into other people. Yeah, don't do that. Somebody just stay the fuck away from me, please. Thank you. Yeah, I suspect stuff like that does happen. I mean, think about it, right? If our bodies are a vehicle, then it would make sense, right? That anybody can come and, enter your vehicle. Who's the artist of the painting? It is me. So interesting conversations. Well, so do you think people that choose to die early because cancer come back? That is a very, very, very interesting question. So you linked choosing to die early with cancer, and I don't know if there's sort of a connection there. But I do think at the end of it, we are multidimensional beings. So when the body dies, it's just the vehicle that's like spent out. You come back if you want, or if you're done serving your time, then you don't come back. And if you die in one reality, but you haven't done serving your time, I think that you just get put back in here and you shift until you're done serving your time. That's what I think. We talked about this a bit earlier, about an hour ago, about the fourth dimension being the work dimension. I'm sorry, the third dimension being the work dimension of the fourth dimension. So I'm going to post this, if you're interested, on my YouTube channel. I'm like, yeah. All right, unprocessed energy can lead to cancer. So look at negativity. So I don't know if you guys saw the video on my channel of what happened to my dog. I took him to Petco and they fucked him up. Like, I'm not even gonna get into it. I will post it. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't know what you're waiting for. I mean, you should go check it out. But they fucked up my dog. They fucked him up. It was all bad. Like I put the video up there. They just yin and yanged him. And I remember going to pick up my dog and I saw him and I just started laughing. And the lady was like freaked out because she was like bracing herself for me to be like proper angry. But to me, at the end of the day, what's anger gonna solve? What is the purpose of anger, right? We live in a society, we live in a simulation, in a reality, whatever word you want to call it, that has programmed us that is a response, that is a response that you should have for things not going your way or the way that you intend. But the problem with that, if you're continuously reacting in anger every time something doesn't go your way, you're making yourself sick. You're making yourself sick. You're aging yourself, right? So for the most part, I might every once in a while get like agitated. But I should say sometimes my avatar will react with agitation. I'm not saying I never get angry, but I catch it the way I meditate, the way I catch my thoughts when I meditate. Because at the end of the day, you continuously doing that to yourself, you continuously releasing cortisol, continuously releasing stress hormones. You do that continuously, you're wearing down your immune system. Eventually, over time, you can, in fact, make yourself sick. Now, somebody said it's okay to be vulnerable. That has nothing to do with vulnerability. Anger is actually, to me, the opposite of vulnerability. When you walk into a situation where it's something that's not going your way, you are conditioned to act in a particular way. Right? Yes, feel the emotion and let it pass. Observe the emotion the exact same way when you meditate, which is why I'm always kind of telling you guys, like, if you don't meditate, like, you know, go into it. Wish the font wasn't so small. It says, I said anger is when you think you can't cry. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, okay, I understand now. And on what you freeze your body needs to feed your body and soul in a healthy way. So yeah, you observe it, and then you let it fade away. Yes, was I upset that they made my dog look like a half lion, half rat? Yes, in the moment. And then I looked at him, and he did look hilarious. So I went with laughter. And it was okay. And then I was laughing. I have like an intense laugh in person. So I was laughing so intensely that she was like, I'm sorry. I actually understand the seriousness of the situation. So I'm trying not to laugh because I know that you're supposed to be upset. Like, she was expecting me to be angry. And when I saw him, I just started cracking up. Like, people like coming like to the groomer section to see like what was so, like, why I was reacting in that way. It was the funniest shit I've ever seen, I swear to God. I mean, if it wasn't my dog, like, I would have reacted in the exact same way. So I just reacted in the exact same way that I would have reacted had it not been my dog. Like, my Virgo girlfriend laughs at sad stuff. Yeah, I do. I do too. I laugh at dark things as well. You can choose your responses, and it's okay. You don't have to react in the way that you are programmed to react every time you are in a situation. If most people would react in a particular way, then that's a program reaction. And if I know that I can sort of trigger you, right, then you are how are you different then from an NPC? If your response is a programmed response and it's the same response that most people would react with without thinking, then how can you say that you're free? How do you even exercise freedom? Mexico City, 30. So it's like 12:30 over there. 12:15. That is my art. So I feature a painting in every one of my videos, and yeah, so they are my paintings. When I try to be silent and empty my mind, the more that I keep getting too much of it. So this is something that I am American, yes. Do I not sound American? I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but like people keep asking me that. 111, that's 116. You're 2 hours ahead. Okay, I got you. Gosh, what was I saying? Dang it. Hold on. I want to answer that question. It was important. When I try to be silent and okay, yes. So, common misconception about meditation is that you have to empty your mind, which is why a lot of people have a hard time meditating. You don't. You don't have to. It's not about having a silent mind. It's about training your mind the way you want it. It's a focus experiment. It's a focus exercise. Hello. What time is it in Fukushima? Are people still living there? Pardon my ignorance. I think there's a glitch in the Matrix. There's always glitches in the Matrix. So yeah, pick a mantra. You repeat the mantra. You catch your mind shifting, shift it back. That's it. Your mind is going to talk, and you're going to forget that you're listening to it. But the moment you catch yourself listening to this mind, as opposed to the mantra that you've decided to repeat, shift it back. What that teaches you in time is that you are not the mind, right? Because if you sit down and say, I'm going to meditate, then you should be able to sit and repeat your mantra 10 times without this going on. So if this is going on, then that should tell you that you are not this. You are the thing that's listening to this. You're not this. You are the thing, whatever that thing is, that's listening to this. Okay? And it does get easier with time. Absolutely. So, cool. Some people like to listen to their mantras. Some people like to listen to their breaths. I find for me personally, the reason why I like a mantra, it's just easier for me when I try to like focus my breath, I fall asleep. so it doesn't work as well for me. So you pick what works for you, but get into the habit of doing it, and it works. So start there. Okay. Actually, it's like a meditation for noobs. Some of your works sound like you have an accent. Oh, gotcha. Okay. No, I just I'm like empathic. I don't like being empathic. I'm strongly empathic, and as a result, I tend to also pick up the accents of people that I spend a lot of time with. I'm also Nigerian by birth, so that might be, sometimes I pronounce words the way Nigerians would pronounce word. But my best friend is in the UK now, so I spend a lot of time talking to him as well. And so I sort of pick up the accents of like him and his friends as well. So, yeah. Okay, so I think I out about breathing, so I have to listen to my playlist. I had somebody comment that for women, for some women, listening to music can be a meditation. So try that. If that works, try that. If you can't do the mantra and you can't do, the heart, like listening to your heartbeat or whatever, maybe just try music. Anything that you can shift your focus back to when you catch your mind wandering, make that into a meditation. When I paint, it's a meditation. I always listen to an audiobook when I paint. And that is one of the reasons why I listen so fast to audiobooks, because it forces me to focus on the book. So if I catch my mind wandering and I wander off the book, I have to shift my focus back to the book. And because it's going so fast, it forces me to focus on the book. And if I wander, I have to rewind the book. So it gets annoying rewinding the same section over and over again. So eventually I just listen to the book. But I can turn an audiobook into a meditation, right? So the whole thing, it's not about sitting and, saying Om and being all spiritual. It's about focus. You have chosen what you want to focus on, right? And now you are going to will your mind to focus on what you want to to focus on. That is how you start to strengthen your will. It's not free. It must be earned. You have to work on it. Right? So if you say, I'm going to do this. I want to do this. I want to repeat my mantra 10 times. Once you catch your mind not doing what you said you wanted it to do, you pull that bitch back. Nah, bitch, it's not what we're doing. You don't have to be aggressive, but you know what I mean. You bring it back gently, you just bring it back, shift it back. That's not what we're doing. This is what we're doing. We're doing the mantra, all right? Somebody just said here and now, you could turn touch into a meditation. You can force yourself into the moment and turn the moment into a meditation. If you sit and just pay attention to how everything feels, right? Like if you, oh, my fingers feel so cold. And then you just force yourself into the moment. Your mind wants to talk about, oh, you didn't do this, or what did this person do to you? It's fine. You can't stop it. That's its job, to pull you into the drama. But the moment you catch yourself listening to it, pull yourself back. You're trying to retrain your mind to focus on what you want it to focus on, not what it wants to focus on. It's like training a horse, right? You're training the beast. That is what meditation is. And that is one of my favorite things, and one of the things I like the most about it. Yeah? Okay, my sister's spirit question. Sometimes grandma said like a demon. I don't personally believe in demons. I think that if she has depression, there could be two causes. It could just be a clinical thing. And then it just needs to be correlated or not correlated, rather corrected. Because some people do have clinical depression. It's just like, think about it like a function in a vehicle, right? There's just like serotonin is not being produced, right? And then it causes that feeling of depression. It's not a demon. It's just a malfunction or misfunction. So that could be treated. And there are ways to treat that. There are therapists who believe in plant medicine and will work and utilize plants to treat depression. So for me, I have, those of you who really know me or have been following the podcast for a bit, I've been very vocal about my this body, my avatar, has some predisposition to clinical depression. So there was a long period of time when I would just sort of wake up and you could feel it. And then I would, like, after time, try to find something because I didn't understand what was going on. So I would wake up with the feeling of being depleted, like, right? You just wake up like wanting to cry, but nothing's going on. And then you try to find things to explain why you're feeling sad. But then I realized, no, there's nothing really. It's just, it's an imbalance in the brain of my avatar, and that's okay. Now, there are people who advocate that you take prescription medicine, but I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to sort it out using plant-based medicine. So what I found worked for me are 3 things. Sulforaphane, which is basically broccoli seed extract. And the pills that I take for that, I get them off of Amazon. It's Crucera. I take Crucera. I take Pure Onco. It's called Pure Onco, Pureonco. Take those 2 every day with mustard seed. And all those 3 together, I have, since I started taking it, it's been almost a year, I have not woken up with that feeling of being depleted. So that has been what has worked for me. Sulforaphane is the active ingredient. I think you should look it up. I'm going to ruin the spelling, but I think I can get close to spelling it. I think it's sulfur, so SULFORAPHANE. You can Google it. So I would look into that. And there have been podcasts on this. There have been doctors who have researched it for anxiety, depression, ADHD, even autism. So that has been what has worked for me. And then, this is harder for some people, but I will microdose, which is what I've done. So I think like 30 minutes ago, like it hit and I actually spoke on it. I was like, all right, I'm good. And I take literally, I don't even weigh it. I take like a half a cap and a stem, like a small amount. And and I feel it regulates me. And then I fast. It just kind of balances me out. So those are the things that I found to help me with, help my avatar with the clinical depression. But I don't think it's a demon. I think sometimes it's just, there's just some misfunction, right? So if you view your avatar as a vehicle, just imagine like maybe just there's a hole or there's a drip in like, where the oil goes or something like that. And you just have to like keep sort of putting things in or balancing it out. And somebody keeps asking about my psychic abilities. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. And I will answer that. I guess my psychic abilities is I'm crazy intuitive to the point where I've gotten in situations where it's like I just know things that like I couldn't have known. And I can sometimes feel what people feel. And sometimes like I just like I can meet a person and know everything about them like in a second. And so that's a bit wild. Another thing that happens with me and has been happening more and more is I have experiences out of time. So I vibe heavy with the retrocausality theory in quantum physics, where your future does impact your past. I think that your consciousness through your mind has access, or your mind through your consciousness rather has access to all of the experiences that you will have. And I have found that I can sort of quote from books that I haven't yet read. So I'll say that again. I can sort of quote from books that I haven't yet read. And this has happened and has been chronicled on the podcast, Your One Black Friend. There was actually one time, I think it was like 2020, I kept saying, right before the lockdown happened, I kept saying that like everybody needs to stay home. Everybody needs to stay home. It was like a lot of like synchronistic events where like occurred at the same time. And this was like recorded. It was on the podcast. So I can't make this up. And then like the date that I said was like the date for everybody to stay home. That was when the lockdown occurred in California and like everybody was like forced to stay home. I think the episode was called Your Death Date on Your One Black Friend podcast. And it was like a couple episodes leading up to it is when like it kind of built up. So that's my weird sort of like psychic thing. Every once in a while, like I'll have a dream. Especially when I used to keep my dream journals, I would write my dreams out and then like low key was like seeing in the future. But I don't think that's weird, because if the flow of time is an illusion and all of time is happening right now, then it's not, then that means the future exists right now. So your mind should be able to, depending on what kind of mind you have, see into the future, because the future exists right now. So those are my abilities. No, it's not a recent episode. This was from like 2020, I think, or 2020. It's like 2 years ago now. Excuse me, trying to stay hydrated. What is the theory you're speaking of again? Sorry, I've been taking notes. Oh, snap, you're taking notes. So it's retrocausality. It's a theory. That episode was wild. But it's interesting to listen. It was from 2 years ago. But retrocausality is a theory that the future can in fact affect the present, and it's tied to the theory in quantum physics about non-locality. And once again, like I said, if the flow of time is an illusion, then all the time is happening right now. Then it doesn't. It makes sense that your future can affect your present just as much as your past. So that's fun. Bye. Thanks for stopping by. All right. So gifts you have are actually for the people. Okay. It's been real. Thanks for stopping by. I think you've been here for a while, so I appreciate you. Moderators, how are you guys doing? Finally caught your live. Yeah, I'm probably about to log off soon. It's late. I'm tired. My brain hurts. Been talking for a minute about like dense stuff, How are you guys feeling, moderators? Is there any way to exit this dimension and enter a new one? I do suspect that if you're talking about dimensions, as in exiting the third dimension, going to the fourth dimension, I do suspect that we do exit every night, which is what I'm about to do here in a little bit, and check out the fourth dimension. I don't think we have to wait. I don't think we have to do anything esoteric. I think you can work on lucid dreaming. There are loads of books out there. Just read the reviews, go on Audible. There are, you don't even have to go on Audible if you don't want to. You can go to the letter U, 1, the number 1, lib.org, and get some PDFs there. You didn't hear that from me. I'm not telling you to do that because I don't think it's legal. And you can get the PDFs and read about lucid dreaming. And you can exercise. There are exercises you can do throughout the day. And I mean, those are pretty straightforward. It takes a bit of time. It takes, you like having a dream journal, and you have to do like reality checks throughout the day to just like, get your mind trained to ask certain questions while you're dreaming. And then that will wake you up into that. And I do think that even the dream world can be a dimension within itself. I think it's different from the chunk of time when you are not dreaming, because bear in mind, dreaming only occurs for like I said, 20 minutes to an hour right before you're about to wake up. That's when REM occurs, okay? So you're not dreaming for the whole entire time that you're sleeping. The website is Sorry. And one woke you up. Girl. What did they say? So the website is lib.org. You did not get that website from me. It's interesting. I don't know what the voice was. Wake up, there's a fire. What's that mean? That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to like sit with you. I have to sit with you because that's one thing I can do. If I sit with people, I can kind of like pick things up when I'm like around them. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like life paths. If you aren't, you should totally find your life path and read about it. It's interesting. I like the write-ups by Felicia Bender about the different like numbers, and mine is a 7, and it's like basically like the reluctant like psychic or something like that. So I have like these weird sort of crazy like intuitive like abilities, not powers, I don't like that word, but I have like a weird vibe around it because it's like I don't know if I want to like go down that path. I feel like I identify more with like sort of like the left side of my brain as far as like intellect and hard sciences. But I feel like the older I get, the more I sort of can I eat what again? You mean repeat? But I feel like the older I get, the more I'm sort of driven to like more metaphysics and, the occult and, studying mythology and like ancient spiritual practices and things like that. How do you find our life path? Just go on Google and type in, or DuckDuckGo, whatever your favorite browser is, and type in life path number calculator. You essentially just take all of the digits of the numbers in your birthday and then reduce them to like a single number. So yeah, this is my painting. I'm the artist. Life path 8. Oh, that's cool. One of my really close friends is an 8. I saw a 4. That's what's up. He thinks we're all God. I'm not the only one who does. Is that the same as timeline shifting? Is what the same as timeline shifting? Okay, so if you can't tell, I am hitting that wall now. It's super late. It's like 11:30 my time. And I do appreciate you guys hopping in. I'm actually gonna like go paint for a little bit and finish the book I was reading. But if you guys have any questions for me before I hop out, of course you're 9. I like 9s. 9s are chill. 9s are super chill. 1:35. Yeah, you guys need to go to sleep. I will catch you guys. That was what I was going to do. Oh my God. Okay. So for those of you who's been here the whole entire live, first of all, I just got my second one, but I am going to let you guys go. But for those of you who've been here the whole time and have been like following the conversation since the beginning of it, first of all, I am going to put this on a YouTube channel. So secondly, let us agree somehow. I don't know what it's going to look like. Okay. Are you guys with me? I'm planning something here. And thank you for your kindness, sir. let us agree that when we go to, yeah, it's in my bio. It's in my bio. My YouTube is in my bio. Let us agree. It's late. I'm tired. Can't you tell I'm tired? Like, normally I have more energy. Like, normally I'm like, yeah, let's get it. You should have seen me live yesterday. It's actually on my YouTube channel. But let us agree. Let us agree. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Let us agree that everything we've talked about, so we're talking about the fourth dimension, right? And then we leave every night. I want us to try to figure out like a way or an experiment to meet in the fourth dimension. What do you think? Is there a way we can sort that out? I don't know. I don't know what it looks like. But if my theory is right and we do log off every night, then everyone that has been in here and has heard what I was talking about, right? Like, there should be a way for us, like our consciousness or something like that, our astral bodies to like connect in the fourth dimension and then like somehow bring a message back to the third dimension like tomorrow. I don't know if I think if we just like right before you go to bed, like if we just do this, okay, this is fun. Let's see if it works. And I don't imagine, because I know how this world works, that's just how it is. I don't imagine it's something that we know, like not even lucid dreaming, because I think that when you lucid dream, you're in like a different dimension, but I don't think it's the fourth dimension. I legit think that the dream world is like a meta dimension almost. So I think it's here. But I doubt that it's gonna, because that's just how this world works. I doubt that it's gonna work the first go. But I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't curse myself. I should be mindful of that. Sometimes I say that. Don't do that. I think it'll work. Let's try. No, not while we're asleep. Like when we go to sleep. So my theory is that, okay, so when you sleep, okay, here's my theory. When you sleep, right, you have REM here, you have REM here. REM is rapid eye movement, right? And I don't know if you guys have seen Doctor Strange, the new movie, yet. So before he enters into like this reality that he's trying to get to, this is like the base reality, right? He shifts through all of these, like there's a paint world, there's a cartoon world or whatever. So those worlds I think of as like, that's what happens when we dream. So when we're about to like leave the third dimension to the fourth dimension, we have to shift out of these like, let's call them like border, like parallel universes. And those are the images that we see that our brain tries to like construct a narrative out of. But that's still just like an in-between dimension, or even like your parallel selves or something like that, right? But then for like the 6-7 hours that you're not dreaming, I think that your consciousness exists in the fourth dimension. So I think that we could like sort of agree that before we go, for those of us who are about to go to sleep, I'm sorry for keeping you guys up, I'm going to wrap it up. But for those of us who are about to go to sleep, I think that if we agree to, like right before you go to bed, you say, okay, I'm going to connect with Jolie's consciousness in the fourth dimension. Or I'm going to connect with all of the people who were in Jolie's live in the fourth dimension, right? And somebody said, maybe if we all listen to the same tune and agree to fall asleep at once at the same time. Maybe, but let's not limit ourselves. Like, let's just try this. And then maybe, like, I'll probably do some more lives. I'm traveling next week, so I won't be able to paint. And that's usually what limits me from going live. So while I'm traveling, I should be able to do some more lives. So maybe we'll just keep at it. It's not, I don't want to limit. I'm not going to say it's not. It might work. It may work. You don't know. But if we just like decide, like it's just, if it's like the last thought you have before you leave, right? You're right. I gotta, it's a bad habit. But if it's like the last thought you have before you like leave, maybe we can come back, with like something from the fourth dimension. Like maybe we like agree to meet around like a bonfire in the fourth dimension or something like that. I don't know. Let's try it. Like, why not? Why not? What do you guys think? Somebody said I love it. I'm waiting for you guys' comments because I think there's a lag between the video and the actual comments. I need to talk to one or more of my higher achievement parallel selves. Yeah, still some ideas from them. That is my art. Yeah, like the idea a lot. All right, let's do it. Okay, bet. All right, let's sort it out. Let's try it. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Look, we got so many people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How will we know? I don't know. We will know. Because if you just program, right? Because imagine, we're not astral projecting. We're just going to the fourth dimension. We're going to come back we're just going to tell ourselves. We're going to come back with some sort of evidence that we do in fact go to the fourth dimension. That's it. Let's not even, it's not even about connected. Let's just keep that in our mind that there's something we're all collectively working towards. So it's not just you, right? Because if you have a bunch of people, I'm telling you, listen. So if you don't have to go to Northern Lights, but stop doing it. You're literally just gonna do it. You're just gonna, right before you go to bed, because after this, we're all gonna go off on a fucking adventure to the fourth dimension. Let's go. No, we go every night. I'm convinced we go every night. You don't have to. So we're gonna go back. We're going to before we go to bed. We're gonna tell ourselves. I'm telling you how to do it. Before we all go to bed, I was gonna stay up and paint, but see now this is an experiment. We're to see how it goes, and then my next live. Then I want you guys to pop back in. That means I have to plan what my next live is gonna be. But I want you guys to that's not Rihanna. But anyway, thank you. You can see a full picture of her on my Instagram, Julia Artist. All my links are in my bio. But if just before you go to bed, how would you pinpoint a place and time? That's the thing. So let's take a step back. I just want you guys to go to the fourth dimension and bring back some kind of evidence. It doesn't have to be something physical because this is the physical dimension. So you can't bring back something physical to the physical dimension. It doesn't have to be physical. Okay? It's either got to be a knowledge of something that only a fourth dimensional being would know. And I've argued that we are multidimensional beings. Okay? So thanks for all the likes, by the way, guys. But it can't be anything physical. This is a low vibrational, solid, dimension. A vision, right? So just try to pull a piece of something back. A vision. Ooh, thanks for all the flowers. A vision. Something. A story. An idea. Something that if we didn't have this conversation, if we hadn't put this in our mind, programmed our minds to, programmed ourselves with the intention, programmed our minds with the intention of, okay, we're going to go to the fourth dimension, we're going to come back with something. I can't tell you what it is because I don't quite know because I haven't tried this yet. Says, oddly enough, I was talking about dragging and multiple dimensions earlier today. We just start with programming. This is going to be a working experiment, guys. Okay? Oh, dreaming. That makes more sense. This is going to be like a working experiment. So we're going to keep working at this. We're going to talk about this in the next live. We're going to keep doing this. Okay? This is legit a thing. I'm actually legit excited, and I'm excited. Secret word in the fourth dimension. I don't know. Maybe we go in and we pick up a word, but I don't want to limit it to a word. I just want it to be something. If you just tell yourself, okay, I'm going to the fourth dimension and I'm going to come back to the third dimension with something. Yes, while we're sleeping. So it's almost midnight here. So, and I think somebody was it's super late for sure. This is official. There were exactly the things I was talking about. Wow. Okay. Well, I don't believe in coincidences, so all right. What time will you go live next? That's the problem with me is I'm not good at schedules. but I have a Discord. Why did I forget about that? I have a Discord. So go on my Discord and whatever you guys report. Jump on the Discord and then we can talk about it in the next live, but report on the Discord. That's a good place for us to kind of congregate and say, okay, this is what happened or nothing happened. go on the Discord. That's a thing. That's a thing. It's in my bio. So before we go to sleep, we're going to do this. Before we go to sleep, we are going to program our minds, and we're going to say we're going to go to the fourth dimension, and we're going to come back with some sort of evidence. I don't stream or tweet Twitch, but I am open to it. If somebody can teach me how to do all that stuff. I'm not well versed because I have TikTok, I've got Instagram, I've got YouTube, so I am on YouTube. I have the Discord now. So if you're not following my YouTube, please follow my YouTube, because what I want to do is keep putting out content and longer form videos where we're talking about this stuff. And a lot of people don't like coming on TikTok or like sending people videos on TikTok, because not everybody like is addicted to TikTok the way we are, which is fine. I get it. So I'd love to build up the YouTube so that we can start really. I want to like put out more videos, maybe start doing things with like animation, just more fun stuff, exploring these sort of like super cool concepts. Okay, great. So, did you say watch my language? Did I cuss? I cuss a lot. I'm sorry. I've been cussing for a long time. Hi, my spiritual sister. We need to stay strong in this fight, to maintain balance. I dig you. All right. Okay, so we're going to do it. 1, 2, 3, break. Right? All right, we're all down. To recap, we manifest the thought of entering the fourth dimension before falling asleep. Yes, so we're going to program our minds with this. Okay, when we go to sleep, I'm going to go to the fourth dimension. And I just apologize to be polite. Like, I'm still going to say fuck. Like, sorry. I'm not well versed. Oh, okay. That is a bad word. You're right. I should not say that. You're right. That's worse than the F word. Negative self-talk is worse than fuck. I appreciate you calling me out on that. Thank you. Yeah, let's sort it out. Grab some tea from the fourth dimension. Yes. Let's find out what these inspects are up to. Okay, so hop on Discord or go on YouTube and comment on like whatever video is like the most recent video you can post on there. But I like the Discord idea better because then we can all talk to each other. I like that. Okay, so do you ever collab with your art, or is it strictly solo? I'm an introvert, so that's just me, but I am open. I actually would like to work with animators, just putting that out there, because I think a lot of these stories would do really well animated. I love like art, obviously. And somebody asked, hey, keeping you on here. Yeah, we have to go to the fourth dimension, guys. I need a shirt. These need to be shirts. Okay. But yeah, I would love to collaborate with some animators. So, oh, and my Discord is in my bio. The link is in my bio. Okay. All right. So I have to learn more about Discord. I'll definitely jump in and start something though. Yeah. If you don't want to do the Discord thing, if you leave a comment in like the YouTube channel, I think if you leave a comment on the most, let's do this as well. If you don't want to do Discord, because I don't want, not everybody's on Discord. A parallel that you can do is the video that I uploaded. It's called 3D plus 4D dichotomy. We can also comment under that. And then what I can do is take screenshots from the comments, if it works, and post it to the Discord and kind of go back and forth. Okay. But either way, the YouTube, the podcast, the Discord, all of those links are on it. Now let us go. Allons-y to the fourth dimension. You guys ready? Ready to log off? All right. It's funny, like I caught my second win. Like, like as soon as I'm like, all right, guys, I gotta see. Wait, let's go to the fourth dimension. That's a normal thing. All right. Aw, you're amazing. Good at broadening and rising. Yes. Thank you. All right, guys. So I will meet you guys in the fourth dimension. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna set the intention. Can you speak on the fifth dimension? I cannot. I'm trying to just focus on these two. Don't lose the proof, guys. Yeah, hang on to it. Hold on to it. How do we do it? It's as simple as just setting the intention. As I'm going to go to sleep, I'm going to go to the fourth dimension, I'm going to come back with something from the fourth dimension. All right? Okay? Google's what's the fourth dimension. Watch the video that I posted right about 6. Actually, watch my videos, the last videos, last 2-3 weeks, whatever. I kind of build up to them. And so let's go. And write down, don't forget, as soon as you wake up, don't open your eyes. Don't leave, guys. Hold on, this is important. As soon as you wake up, do not open your eyes. Just sit with the memory of it in your mind. Because the moment you open your eyes, something about this world, the moment you open your eyes, it's like you forget. So sit with the memory in your head and loop it. And then grab your phone and write it on your phone. And then that's it. All right? Okay. It's afternoon for me, not sure. That's okay. Do it when you go to sleep. Like, people in different time zones can do it. It's just, it's going to be a little bit later. Well, it's the fourth dimension. So, like, it's okay. So whenever you go to sleep, don't forget. No negative thought. We just said, no, don't say you're going to forget. If you say, I'm going to forget, you're programming yourself to forget. Say it. I will remember. And as soon as you wake up, don't open your eyes. Like, reloop whatever it is in your head over and over again. And then, like, grab your phone and then write it out. Okay? And those of you who are, like, in other time zones, just remember this and then do it when you go to sleep. And then let's sort it out. Either under the video 3D plus 4D dichotomy, either we're going to do that in the comment board there, we're going to do it on the, there you go. I will remember. We're doing it on the Discord. All right. I bring grenades. Wow. Okay. Whatever works. Yes, time does work differently in 4D. So we will remember. This is fun. All right. I gotta go. I gotta let you guys go. Let's go to the fourth dimension. All right, guys. Love to you all. To the fourth dimension. You will remember.